Welcome back, my friends. Time for another tier list. I know it's been a little bit, but it took me a while to go back through my old tier list and figure out what I was missing. I had put characters on the tier list without actually making a video for them. Or I lost the video, who knows? Only the sands of time can tell us. Today, we're going to go back through these characters. Here they are. These are the ones that I didn't make a video for, and after this video, I should be caught up to the Squid Games 5 characters. So the next tier list you see from me will be the Squid Games characters after I add them to the tier list, put the pictures in and whatnot, get them all ready. So let's take a look at what we have for today. We have a little bit of Wizarding World action. Albus Dumbledore. We've got Bellatrix, Hagrid, Voldemort, and then I got the Rick and Morty 2-pack that somehow never made it into a video. So welcome. If you don't know what this is, my name's JD. We're over on twitch.tv/yourbuddyjd. That's my YouTube name, so if you're watching this on YouTube, come find me over on Twitch. Me and B-Man are hanging out right now. We're going to talk over some Funkoverse characters, so take a look at our first victim, Albus Dumbledore. If you see my prior videos in this series, you pretty much know what's going on here, so I'm going to go over these pretty fast. Everybody can do like the basic moves. If you don't know anything about this game, come find us in the Discord. Leave a comment for a Discord invite. Come hang out and play this crazy game. Albus Dumbledore is yellow-gray. He's got 2 defense, and his trait is once per turn, an ally adjacent to Dumbledore may decrease the cost of an ability by 1. So concerning his trait, he's on the map, and he has an adjacent ally, and they want to use an ability on their turn. It costs 1 less. Once per turn, so these two are next to each other, and they both want to use abilities. If they start their turn adjacent to Dumbledore, one of their used abilities costs 1 less. So, it kind of helps a little bit with the cooldown track if you keep your team together. I mean, that's a pretty good trait. It's not terrible. Incendio, his first ability is a yellow 4, so you spend the token on the 4. And you get to do a range 3 challenge to up to 2 different rivals. Give Dumbledore the Incendio status card with the Incendio side face up, limited to once per turn. Okay, so pretty basic, right? Range 3, so as long as you're within 3. 1, 2, 3, within 3. And he can do, he can zap 2 people. So if there's 2 enemies over here, you can zap them both with a range 3 challenge 2. And then after you do both your challenges, or one of your challenges, you don't necessarily have to use it on 2, but you can. You get the Dumbledore Incendio card. At the beginning of Dumbledore's turn, do a range 3 challenge 2. So after you've used your Incendio and the round ends, at the beginning of Dumbledore's next turn, even if he's knocked down, you still get to use the Incendio card. Yeah, because even if you're knocked, yeah, it's definitely the reason you want to use it. At the, you get a range 3 challenge too. So once you've done this ability at the beginning of your turn, so you get the Incendio, you exhaust. Next round, at the start of his turn, you do the range 3 challenge 2. You flip this, and now you can't use Incendio again this turn. So you use Incendio, you get the range 3 challenge 2 to 2 rivals. The next turn, at the beginning of your turn, you get the another range 3 challenge 2, but then the turn that you're currently on, you can't use the Incendio again. And then at the end of the round, it goes back in your hand. So Incendio is pretty good. I mean, you get 3 range 3 challenge 2s out of it, pretty much. It's pretty crazy. 4 cost is a little pricey, but you know, there's ways to manipulate that. Petrificus Totalis, range 3, challenge 4. The target must be standing. So, range 3, challenge 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can't do it on a knockdown target. So you can only knock people down with this ability. You can't knock them out, per se. Depulso, move an adjacent character 1 square. So rival or ally, you can move them 1 square. In any direction. It's not a push or a pull. It's a move. So they can move in any direction. Dumbledore's pretty good. He's got some pretty good ranged attack. He doesn't have much movement himself, so getting him into position might be a little bit of a pain, but once you get him into position, and if you can keep him with at least one teammate to take advantage of his trait, he's not that bad. A little pricey, though, so you got to keep that in mind when you play him. Make sure you use your Incendio at a good time. And yeah, he's not bad. I like Dumbledore. Let's look at Bellatrix. Gray-blue Bellatrix Lestrange. 2 defense. Trait Notorious Witch. When Bellatrix shifts off the cooldown, you may place her adjacent to an ally. That's crazy big. So if your ally is over here at the flag and she dies, coming off the cooldown track, she doesn't have to start in the starting area. She can come adjacent to an ally. So now you can score, and Dumbledore could possibly score if you set it up correctly. Her trait is really good. That trait is bonkers. Oh yeah. Yeah, Dumbledore's a walking turret 100%. Her trait's really bonkers. Confundo. Gray 3. Range 4, challenge 2. Give the target the Confundo status. Alright, so you know, range 4, challenge 2. Easy peasy. What is the Confundo status card? The next time this character does the ability action, increases... Okay. So, you zap somebody with a range 4 challenge 2, and then their next ability... Say you zap Rick. Any of his abilities he spends cost 1 more because of the Confundo card. And then once they've used an ability and it costs 1 more, you can drop it in here. Her trait is really good on red light, green light, and scrimmage. Oh yeah. It pretty much breaks those modes. Her trait breaks a couple modes just by being able to spawn next to a teammate. Especially when like scoring involves you going back to the cooldown track and coming off it. So keep that in mind when you're playing her. She breaks a lot of game types. Alright, her second ability, Imperio, is a gray 3. Control a rival. Bellatrix can see within 3 squares, make them do a basic action. This is pretty cool. So if Rick's the rival, he's within, what was it, 3 squares? You can make him do a basic action like move. Or if you can see him and he's next to a point, he can take the point for your team. So, because technically, Rick is your ally during the controlling. So if Rick and Morty are on the same team, and you wanted to have Morty fight Rick, you can with Imperio. Because Morty would be your ally during the turn and during the action that he's being controlled. That he's your ally. It's a pretty good move. I use it to get people like if they're on my flag and I can see them, I usually have them like get off my flag, or if they were playing territories, we have them get out of territories or have them take points. Imperio is really good. I think Bellatrix is she's got a pretty good kit so far. Her third ability is Mortis Mordre. Place Bellatrix on the one of your cooldown track, and you can use this while knocked down. So if she's knocked down and you don't want her to get knocked out, you know, if she's in a bad position, say, and she's knocked down, and you don't want to have to like try to fight to keep her up, you can just send her to the cooldown track, save yourself the point loss, which is really big in maybe leaders. And then if you want, when she comes off the cooldown track, you can put her next to an ally or something and get her out of trouble. Her kit is... The more I look at her, the better she is. She's also a little slow. But, I mean, you can set her up in a bad position at the beginning of the game and then Mortis Mordre yourself into a better position with your team later in the game. I don't think I play her enough. You love Bellatrix, always been a fave. She's really good, man. I think I underplay her, and I've undervalued her. But just looking at her kit alone, she's really good. Really good. Okay. Let's not fawn. On to the next one. Let's go on to somebody else who's really good. Mr. Hagrid. Hagrid is yellow-red. He's got a 2 defense, and his trait's bonkers. When Hagrid assists a character, that character can do a basic action. So, you're battling these 2 people over here. and then finally it's your turn. At the start of the turn, you help up Bellatrix. She gets a basic action, and now you can double fight Morty, or you can get her out of here. But that trait alone makes him one of the... That trait is the... Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. There's been so many times where I've been able to move up on somebody and maybe fight them and knock them down to start the round, but I know that Hagrid's coming to, you know, get the basic action and then turn the, you know, that the extra action always can turn the tide of the game. One extra basic action is all it takes sometimes to get somebody out of trouble or to give you the extra fight, you know. That's awesome to be able to do an extra basic action in any circumstances. His first ability is a 1 yellow helping hand, move 3. This movement must end adjacent to an ally. So you pay the 1, and as long as you end adjacent to an ally, you get to move 3. Doesn't matter where you go or how you spend those 3 moves, but you just have to end adjacent to an ally. Sometimes you hope that they knock down his ally just to make extra. Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes you hope they knock down his... Yeah. If you're playing him, you hope that you get knocked down because you want the double actions. For sure, he's awesome to play. His second ability is a 2 red giant strength challenge 3. The target must be standing. Push the target 1 square. So as long as the rival is standing, you can challenge 3, and then after the challenge, you can push them. Let's go, baby. And then you can push them, which is really good for flags or control or territories. His third ability, you're a wizard. An adjacent ally does a basic action or an ability action without paying that ability's cost. So you can let one of your allies do one of their abilities for his yellow 3 cost. So you get Hagrid adjacent to an ally, you pay the 3 cost. Now Bellatrix can do anything, any one of her abilities, or she can do a basic action, which is really bonkers when you team them up with somebody like Voldemort, who has a Fiend Fire for 4. Now you can spend a yellow 3 instead of your gray 4. You know what I mean? So you can. It's still a 3, but I mean you're saving yourself a full round and you're spending a yellow. So if you stack your yellows with like a Morty who gets double yellows, we'll talk about that later. You can have a lot of options with You're a Wizard. It's a really good ability. It makes him the best. I would say he's the best support in the game. I mean, he's right up there with Rose. I think Morty's a close third, but I think Rose and Hagrid are battling just because the friendship status is so good, and his whole kit is bonkers, and he's pretty cheap, and he has a challenge 3. I mean, also he doesn't have any movement besides the helping hand, so he's meant to be kept with somebody, and if you're playing a little bit more of a spread team, he's not really gonna work. But I mean, other than that, unless you're looking for a speed team in flags, and even then you could probably work him in. He works with just about every team. I don't want to take him out of any team. If I had Hagrid at the start of a tournament, I wouldn't be sad. Hagrid's really good. Our fourth character out of the Harry Potter side, yeah, he's all around support character that can keep with allies. Yeah, for sure. He can keep up with allies. But if you have if you're playing against a team that's faster, they can blow by Hagrid a little bit more because you can't bring him back to rivals. You know what I mean? You'd have to bring your allies back so he can come back to his allies so you can get back to the rivals. But as long as you keep the rival team in front of you with Hagrid, he's definitely a good blocker, a good like a tank character, like a forward pushing tank character. And if you go after his teammates and he gets to help them up, you're in a lot of trouble. Lord Voldemort, gray yellow. He's got 1 defense. But the man makes up for it with his trait, because when he's knocked out, you can place him in your starting area and immediately move him 2 squares. He never goes to the cooldown track, because he is the Dark Lord. So every time he gets knocked over, he gets knocked out. You know, normally you put your characters on the 1. You don't ever go there. He goes back to your starting area, and he gets to move 2. So if it's on your rival's turn, and they knock you out, on your you still on your turn, you still can come back out. Whenever he gets knocked out, it's an okay trait. I mean, it's not as good as this one. I think it's better than this. A little bit more. This is a little bit more situational. But hey, getting Voldemort back on the map, like say you haven't gone yet, and he gets knocked out before he gets his turn. Instead of just exhausting him, he's already back on the map. So you never have to worry about him not being a playable character during a round, because he's always going to come off the cooldown track. His first ability is Fiend Fire. It's a grade 4, range 2, challenge 6. Holy smokes. It's a banger. You guys know about challenge 6 was right. Pow, let's see what we get. Oh, only 1? Unlucky. Confringo, range 4, challenge 2, then do a challenge 2 to each rival adjacent to the target. So, what was the range on that? I'm sorry. Range 4, challenge 2. Damn, that's a long range. We'll do it over here. So as long as it's within 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can challenge your first target, and then if there's a bunch of adjacent rivals, say this is a rival too, all of them get challenged because they're all adjacent. Then do a challenge 2 to each rival adjacent to the target. Yeah. So as long as you're within 4 to challenge to get the first target zapped, it's like chain lightning. They all get zapped. Everybody's getting a little shock from Voldemort. Okay. Oh, come here, Voldemort. Don't break the game. Okay. What's Voldemort's next ability? A yellow 2, a Pungo. An ally Voldemort can see that is within 4 squares may do a basic action. Another bonus action from a Harry Potter character. So as long as you can have line of sight and the ally is within 4 squares, man, that's a long way too. You can have him do a basic action, so you can give an ally an extra basic action during the round. I mean, I forgot that he could even do that, to be honest with you. I mean, overall, he's not bad. He's a little bit more of a glass cannon, and I think that's why they give the Apungo 4 squares, because you're not supposed to be getting him into any type of fist-to-fist battle. He's like more of a zapper. I'm trying to think, his movement is okay. I think he's underplayed too, because I think people get scared of the 1 defense. But if you can keep him back, if you have like a strong front, say you play like Cap and Hagrid, but then you're low on grays, it's hard to find a gray-yellow team with a good front to put Voldemort behind, I guess. I haven't played him too much, and he seems a little costly with no like cooldown track help. Him and Ron aren't bad. Yeah, I just don't know where you're getting your gray from, though. You know what I mean? You unless you're playing like Doc Brown to spin the track a lot. Oh, if he gets knocked out, he spawns next to... Okay, because you spawn allies? Yeah. Kid, you still get to move the 2 squares, yeah? You start him next to Ron, and then you move 2 squares? Because technically any spot next to Ron would be the starting area. So yeah, that's an idea. You got to find a way to get him moving, and get him a little bit of a wall in front of him, so you can get a little range between him and any type of damage. That's the 4 Harry Potter characters. Let's look at our 2 Rick and Morty characters. We've got Morty, who I just said I think he's the 3rd best assist character in the game. He's a 2 defense. He's red, yellow, yellow, so you get 2 yellows along with 1 red ability token. That's what his trait is. Oh, he finally got a notification. Well, welcome, Genesis. We haven't put him on the tier list yet, but we've gone through these 4. We're about to Morty it up real quick. His first ability is 2 yellow. I don't know about this. You get to move 2, and Morty can do an interact or assist. So, move 2, and then I had the point markers on. You can move 2, and then like interact, Or if Bellatrix was your ally, you can move to and assist. Which makes him really good. You get movement, assist, or interact. So it's kind of like having 2 basic actions in one. Second ability, get it together. Take an ability token from your cooldown track and put it in your ability token. So you spend the yellow 3. And then if you had another token, say you're trying to get this red back off. So you're playing with Iron Man and you want to get this red back. You need this red back for Iron Man. So you spend the yellow 3 and you get to take this and put it back in your pool. So you're spending a yellow to get any token you want back. It's like you're trading it. Which is okay. I mean, it's a little bit of manipulation and it's really like a last ditch effort. Like, damn, I need that red for Iron Man, or I need it for Captain America. I need a gray. I need, you know what I mean? If you need something, you can swap it. And you have the extra yellow to do it, I guess. His third ability, Violent Outburst, is a big challenge 4, but you cannot do it unless you don't have any yellows. Yeah, it does help that he has the extra yellow, but you don't get to do the challenge 4 unless you spent all your yellows. So if you have a yellow in your hand over here, you can't do it. But if you spend all your yellows, if you swapped it, I don't know about this, you've gotten it together, you might be able to Violent Outburst and challenge a good 4. Let's see what I get on this side. What kind of dice am I rolling? Junk. We rolling junk, baby. Let's go. Yeah, Morty's, I would say, his kit's okay. You do a lot of I don't know about this. That move is insanely good. It's the best move he has. You got a little bit of track manipulation with the get it together, so I mean, okay, I will, Genesis. That's funny. Morty can, yeah, that's pretty much Morty. I think the extra yellow is good. You play him with a bunch of yellow red, and he can definitely help you get around the map a little bit and get you some extra actions. He's like he's not as good as Hagrid, and he's not as good as Rose. So I would say he's like the 3rd best assist character, and they're all red yellow, which I think is kind of funny. The 3 best assist characters in the game are red yellow. I don't know what they're trying to say by making them like that, but our last character is Rick Sanchez. He is a 2 defense. He is yellow-gray. If Rick is your last character taking a round, he may give Rick Sanchez status card to an ally within two squares that you can see. So if Rick is if everybody else is exhausted on your team, and Rick is the last character to go, you get to give out one of these status cards. So we'll look at him real quick. The combat suit lets you roll 2 extra dice on a challenge. So this, you can use this on anything. Range challenges, regular challenges. Anytime you have this combat suit in your hand, and Rick gives them to people, so if Morty was to do this and use Violent Outburst, you get to roll 2 extra dice. But the downside is your opponent gets to take any one of your ability tokens that are in your hand and put them on the 2 of the cooldown track. So that's the downside to all these cards. Anytime you use one, your opponent gets to take one of your ability tokens out of your hand and put it in the put it on the track. So the best thing to do is to wait to use these cards till you have spend all your tokens and then use these cards after. The second one is you get to move 2 extra squares before moving, and the other one is add 2 to the range of a challenge. So you can add range, you can add movement, or you can add damage. So they're really good cards. I mean, it's just kind of a pain that you lose. You lose a token for you. You lose a token for using them. So there's ups and downs to him. His first ability is Get Swifty. An adjacent ally may do a basic action. Rick may do a basic action, limited to once per turn. That's probably his best move. Get Swifty for a 3 yellow. A basic action for both an adjacent ally, and then Rick can also do one. Or if you're next to like Bellatrix, you can both challenge Bellatrix. Maybe try to knock her out before she Mors Mordre's or something. So it's good to like double up with movement or maybe double attacks. Belch is a 1 gray. Challenge 2, shift an opponent's ability token up 1 number on their cooldown track. So if Hagrid's here and he belched on him, you would get a challenge 2, and then this yellow that Hagrid spent would go up on the cooldown track. What's this third one? Irresponsible Genius. Move 2, give a Rick Sanchez status card to an ally within 2 squares that Rick can see. Okay, so if you don't want to play the game where you use it as Rick is the last character taking a turn trying to hand out the cards, you can force give out the cards without using the trait by using Irresponsible Genius. You just move 2, and as long as your ally is within 2, and you can see him, you gotta have line of sight. You can give the cards out. So you could technically, if you had 2 grays on your team, you can give out 2 grays in a round, and then spend your other tokens, and then use all the cards the next round with no tokens in your hand. He's okay. I mean, his belch is kind of junk. Irresponsible Genius is like a move 2, and then you force give out the cards that you may or may not want to use. I mean, and Get Swifty is his best move, which Jon Snow has a move kind of similar to it, and he's kind of on the lower end of the tier list. I mean, I like playing Rick. He's more of a late game character. You can just spend the crap out of your tokens and then just rely on the cards late, but I don't think he's that great. Let's throw up the tier list and give him a spot. Okay, so Dumbledore, I think Dumbledore's okay. I don't think he is better than Snake or Draco. I don't think he's better than Movement. I think he's right around here. Right around here, mid to upper B. I think Bellatrix is in the A's. Probably somewhere here in mid to upper A. Maybe even better than that. Maybe even higher A. I think Hagrid is S tier. He is God tier. I think he's right around here somewhere. I think Voldemort is lower. I think he's probably somewhere around here. I think they're both like mobile turrets. Whichever one you want to play with, it really doesn't matter. I think Morty is high A as well. Maybe somewhere around here. It's tough which one you want to pick one here. If you want to go more offensive, you take Marty, and if you want to go more defensive, you take Morty. You know, I think that's pretty close right there. And I think Rick is Rick is down here somewhere. I think Rick is down here somewhere. What do you think, boys? I mean, I may be a little harsh to Rick, but I mean, he's tough. He's situational. When I know I want to play like a challenging game, I take Rick. Looks solid. Well, there you have it, boys. There you have it, boys. B-Man agreed. And that's all that matters. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe, blah blah blah. Leave a message to join the Discord. Discord. Leave a like, comment, or something down there. We'll get you in the Discord. Come play with us. We have plenty of fun. Funkoverse.